Diane Bloodworth is a seasoned entrepreneur with a track record in both corporate America and startups. BeyondMVP caught up with her to learn about her latest startup and on being a woman in a male-dominated industry in more ways than one.
I actually had the idea for competitive sports analysis, or we'll just call it CSA to make it a little bit easier, for CSA back in the late 80s when I was in an MBA class at the University of Miami, and I got put into a class on entrepreneurship and paired with the star running back for their national championship team. And at the time I was working at IBM and we were doing some things with expert systems, and I said, wouldn't it be great if we could predict the opponent's strategy and develop a game plan based on those predictions? And when we presented the business plan, the students laughed at us. I think we were a little ahead of our time. But what CSA does, it allows me to combine my background in technology and business with sports. Well, I think they have to, one, be themselves. I think they have to be authentic, and present themselves the way they are. I think they have to understand their buyer. I'd always been in the business world, not in the coaching world, so I really needed to understand that my buyer lived in a different world than the business people do, and they make decisions differently. And so I think that's important to understand as well.
So there's a big emphasis on product market fit in customer discovery. What were some of were there challenges in those areas at all?
Yeah, definitely. And in fact, the way this worked was I tried several years ago to go out and provide a game planning product to coaches. And I don't think I did that customer discovery in a methodical way. And after I had gone out and talked to some of them, I did though realize they probably weren't going to buy into it at that time. So I did a pivot and went after fantasy sports, where the consumer was very interested in data and analytics. And now the coaching has come full circle. They're now more technology and data focused, and they're interested as well.
It sounded like early on the product you had originally wanted to bring to market wasn't the product you actually brought to market first.
That is correct.
And for all the startups out there that are facing a similar challenge, what's your advice to them? How do they recognize that they need to do that?
It's tough because you kind of fall in love with your product. And you have to really be objective about what's working and what's not. And you have to also determine if it's time to shift a little or shift a lot. And the ways that I learned to do that are in objective ways by measuring. Try something, measure it. If it works, do more of it. If it doesn't work, then we need to rethink this. I think we're doing a little bit of a pivot on with our fantasy side with the data. We're really looking at innovative ways to use that data. And it took me longer than it should have to really come to realization that I needed to do that. I wish I would have done it a year ago. And so that would be my advice to entrepreneurs. Really be objective and measure and get outside advisors to keep you honest, keep you accountable. My advisory board has done a good job of that, and they help me stay focused on what's really going to get us success at the end of the day. Of course, I'm in the predictive analytics business, so I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I mean, some of the really cool things we're seeing is, chips on players so that you can break down every single move that they make and do analysis on that. So I think there's a huge opportunity with what we can do with this data. We're looking at doing some really innovative things, like I said, the fit of a recruit. We might take that a step further and say, look at all the players and then match up the team against the opponent and really be able to identify strengths and weaknesses based on that. We're also doing something fun on the fantasy side right now, which is a sports ticker. And we're putting a ticker tape, like a stock ticker, into restaurants and sports bars. And we're doing it with Big Sky here in Buckhead as our first pilot starting this week, actually, where the fantasy sports GM can go in and get their data right there in the restaurant to help them with their draft or set their roster. And we think this is a really innovative way for the restaurant to advertise their specials and communicate and engage their customers.